Hey folks, I've been working on making electromagnets, um, something I've been interested in for a while. I can remember when I was a kid, one of the first experiments that I did was my dad helped me build an electromagnet, and that was one thing that kind of got me interested in science, magnetism, and electricity. What an electromagnet is it's a coil of wire that will produce a magnetic field when you put a direct current through it. So this right here is just a common fridge magnet. You can see this is a ferromagnetic washer. It's steel, and that fridge magnet will hold it. So we can use a coil of wire like this to create the same effect as this permanent magnet. And you don't actually need to wrap your coil around a piece of metal, but typically in most situations you do, because the metal allows or forces the magnetic field to stay in a localized region of space. So it holds the field together, keeping it more concentrated and much stronger at a specific location, which allows you to have a strong field there, and you can actually use that field to lift something. So I've got a few electromagnets here. This is a simple looking one. It's a coat hook with some wire wrapped around it. This is maybe 30 turns of wire or something like that. And I've just got this one AA battery right here. I'm going to hook up the battery to either end of the coat hook, or either end of the piece of wire wrapped around the coat hook. And now the coat hook, you can barely see it because it's very weak, but the coat hook can just kind of barely move that washer. It's extremely weak, so it can't even lift it off the ground. So I'll try this one. This one has a lot more turns. It's probably maybe 150, 200 turns, and it's wrapped around this, what looks to be a powdered ferrite transformer core. That is a little weaker than I was hoping. Here, I'm going to try lifting this 2.5 pound plate weight. So you can see no current going through. This is not going to do anything because it's not a permanent magnet. Now I'm going to attach the battery, and now look at that. It is just stuck on there. And now when I take off one of these current leads, it drops down on the bench pretty suddenly and loudly. So yeah, I had a little trouble lifting up this small little washer for some reason. Let me try that again. Well, it lifts it up. I guess, this washer is a tiny little chunk of metal. It can't hold a whole lot of magnetic field itself, so it's just not attracted very strongly. But it's pretty impressive, really, how using one AA battery, just passing some current through a coil of wire like this, how you can lift up 2.5 pounds with one AA. And I've tried lifting up more weight. The next weight I have is this 25-pound plate weight. I don't have anything in between, unfortunately. And this, I can't quite get it to lift up. So I can pull up on it pretty hard, and I feel like it's at about 10 pounds of force or something like that, where the magnet just comes off, the electromagnet. So I was playing with this before, and I thought, you know, what if I make another electromagnet and I put more turns of wire around the piece of metal? So with more turns you should get more field, and you will for the same current. But the thing is, a piece of metal can only support so much magnetic field in a region of space. So all that happens with more turns, like this one has about twice as many turns around it as this. You just can't see it because it's covered with tape. So this one will make more field, but really the field, all that extra field is just going to be out in space away from the metal, so it's not going to help me lift up this 25-pound weight any more than this one will. So yeah, I'm going to give this a try, actually hooking them both up at the same time. I haven't actually tried this. This is the first time I'm trying that. See if maybe this will work. Who knows? Nope, not quite. Not quite. I could definitely pull harder, but it's the reason is that these pieces of metal don't have high enough magnetic permeability. And that's just a word for what I was talking about before, how a piece of metal can only hold a certain amount of magnetic field within it, you know, before the excess magnetic field is just off in space. So what I need is, you know, to be able to lift this, either a bigger chunk of something like that, but what would be much better would be a piece of metal with significantly higher magnetic permeability. Very pure iron can give you that, or there's this well, there's a product called met glass, and essentially all that is very pure iron, which has been heated up very hot and then cooled extremely quickly so that it has absolutely no time for crystals to form throughout its structure. So it's just, instead of, you know, globs of iron forming and then stacking on each other or whatever, it's just tiny little disordered pieces of iron throughout the entire structure, and that gives you a very high magnetic permeability. I don't know how to explain that well at this time, but maybe later.